You influence my frame of mind. My heart is stuck in a loop of your rhythm and right. I tried to replace you with something new. Lost my body dry as heartbreak along the ground. Dancing about the idea of you. Whilst you decide if I belong to lost and found.
Oh, I don't speak pineapple, woo!
I'm trying, but you can't see. 'Cause say my calls never come through. Why can't you just hear me? I'm crying 'cause I can't feel you. My heart's sinking to my feet. I'm lying 'cause I can't touch you. Why can't you just hear me? It seems to have impact on me. I feel pain every time you cry. You say you'll be back before I know it. Why'd you always lie? I tried to get on with somebody that's not you. Must I hide the pain that sits before my eyes? Dreaming about the idea.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. 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 Clap your hands, clap, clap, clap. Stomp your feet, stomp, stomp, stomp. Spin around, spin, spin, spin. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. 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 Wash your hands, wash, wash, wash. Shake your hands, shake, shake, shake. Brush your teeth, brush, brush, brush. All right. Good morning.
Wee, wee. Oh man, good morning and yeah, it's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou, live for you on LouTube today. Hey, thanks for watching, man. I sure do appreciate it. Also, and too, in addition to that as well, appreciate you guys tuning in. This is the morning show with Uncle Lou and BVD. BVD. That's right, the one and only BVD will be joining us shortly. And guess what? We do this show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 or so. Somebody in the comments a few minutes ago, I didn't catch the name, said, welcome to the morning show live at 8:15 or something like that. But yeah, but you guys get the idea. But anyway, appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope you all had a great weekend. We will get BVD on here in just a second. And we have a special guest coming up in about 15 or 20 minutes. I did see him in the comments section already this morning, so I know he's awake in that. So Ballard Sports Media will be joining us in a little bit as well, and we'll let him introduce him own self to you guys, whichever way he sees fit when he comes on. But we do have some things to talk about this morning, me and BVD anyway, before we add the other Jamoke to the show. But good morning, BVD.
Morning, Mr. Uncle Lou. Apparently that guy that left the comment about 8:15, this must be his first trip to the morning show. So welcome, sir. We're glad to have you. We love you. And make sure you set your calendar for every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday about 8:15.
Yeah, must be his first rodeo. I don't know. But
well,
anyway,
we welcome him with open arms.
Yeah, I mean, it is Monday after all. So, I mean, if you go back and look, typically the way it goes is the Monday show starts around 8:15-ish, the Wednesday show starts around 8:10-ish, and the Friday show starts around 8:05-ish. But
about the time we get wound up.
Right. I mean, so we're, we deserve a little bit of slack considering it's a Monday. So,
and people have to consider our bodies are an hour early this morning, so there's that excuse too.
Man, that spring forward was something serious, BVD, wasn't it?
It was, man.
I'm telling you,
worse than the bubonic plague.
It is bad, like that one day or whatever when you lose that, like the next day or whatever. But in general, though, daylight savings time is the move, is it not?
It is. And maybe later on you or Ballard can explain why Arizona does not subscribe to the daylight savings time theory.
Well, you're the explainer in chief around here, so maybe. But anyway, but seriously though, about daylight savings time, I think it's natural. I think a lot of people. It's depressing when it gets dark at 5 o'clock. Or 5:30 or something. Not like clinical depression where, which is real, and I'm not slighting anybody who suffers with real life depression. I've been down that road a time or two myself, but I mean, just generally speaking, the longer we go with that 5 and 6 o'clock getting dark in the wintertime, it does become depressing. And so when the time changes, and it sort of signifies, the weather starting to change a little bit. It starts to get a little bit warmer. Not that we won't have any more cold days. I'm sure we will. But just generally speaking, it makes me feel better this time of year when that time changes. Spring is coming. Stay light out longer. I don't know. It just makes me feel better.
Could you imagine living in Alaska, somewhere where it stays dark?
Yeah.
For months at a time.
Yeah. That's
and cold.
There was a movie, I don't know, 15 or 20 years ago. Robin Williams was in it, and I think it was called Insomnia. He plays a serial killer in that movie. But anyway, the movie takes place in Alaska during a part of the year where it stays dark for long periods of time, and it really gives you an idea of what it's like to live that way. But I couldn't do it.
No, if I could sleep through those however many months it is, be no problem.
Yeah.
But I think it would be equally as bad if it was daylight straight through for 2 or 3 months. Not as bad.
Well, I think they have that too there.
They do.
Yeah. And
they do.
People have to get those blackout shades, which are amazing. I don't have any, but I have stayed somewhere. Actually, when I went to Germany, I don't know why they had them, but they did. But the place I stayed in Germany, the house we stayed in, one of Mrs. Lou's relatives, they had those electric blackout, like the windows. They were double paned windows, and the blinds are inside the 2 panes of glass, and you literally press a button, and it's like you hung a piece of drywall up on that window. It lets zero light in at all.
So you're not talking the blackout panels you can get at Walmart that you hang up. Like
no,
curtains.
no. These are actual blinds, or I think they call them shades, blackout shades. But it was weird too because Germany is what, an 8 hour time difference? I think it is 7 or 8. Anyway, so the first day or two you're there, you have the jet lag, and you really don't really know what time it is internally anyway. And I remember waking up over there the first couple of days we were there in that room with those blackout shades, and I remember waking up and having no idea if it was 4 in the morning or 4 in the afternoon. I could have rolled over and went right back to sleep, but I was like, well, it might be noon for all I know. I mean, it literally let zero light in.
I'll tell you another place that works well for that same effect. When I moved back to Tennessee in '95, I stayed for my first 3 or 4 months. I stayed with an aunt in the proverbial basement. If you're in the right basement, the basement gets no light either. So that was an adjustment.
Yeah.
Turn out the lights. The party's definitely over, and it's definitely dark. But it's like anything else. You can get used to anything. Our bodies can. Just some things take more time.
Normally on Mondays, I like to ask you about your weekend and how your weekend was and what sort of trouble you might have got into or whatever. But I know, and I think most people watching know what was going on with you this weekend. So I'm not going to ask you that. But I did message you yesterday, and I saw your live show last night. So anyway, I just want you to know there was a lot of comments on here on Friday and some comments on my channel over the weekend or whatever. The thoughts and prayers routine. So there was a lot of people thinking about you this weekend. I don't know if you want to say anything about it or whatever. You may not want to. I don't know, but we were all thinking about you this weekend.
Oh, I definitely appreciate that. I went back. I can't remember if it was Saturday or not, and watched most of it. Tyrants did a great job, of course, and appreciate you guys. Appreciate the love. A lot of love from our community here, Lou. We get trolled a lot, but the love definitely outweighs the troll.
Oh yeah, no
and
doubt.
So, appreciate you guys. For those of you that don't know what Lou's talking about, we buried my stepbrother this weekend at the young age of 53. So it's time. I hate to sound so callous about it, but it's the best way to handle situations like that is move on. And I joked about Dale. I said he's the type of dude that would have said, "What are all you assholes crying for? I'm the one that's dead." That's just the type of dude he was. So appreciate the thought, Lou. Appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, and we're glad you made it back safe and sound. Glad to have you back on the
Certainly
on the
glad
show.
to be back.
Yeah, and I'll just give a quick update on something too, since I uploaded a video yesterday. Saturday was the MS walk here in Augusta, and I don't talk about this often or a lot, but I do mention it from time to time. And anytime I do, I get a lot of questions. Mrs. Lou is fine, so and I always tell her when you guys comment and ask about her and stuff like that. But she's been really lucky so far. She got diagnosed pretty early, the doctors think. It's been a couple of years ago. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, Mrs. Lou has MS, multiple sclerosis. And if you're like me, I knew nothing about it, really, about that disease other than the name of it until Mrs. Lou got it. And there's no real easy explanation for what MS is or what it does, and it affects different people differently. So I'm not even going to try to get into an explanation of what it is. That doesn't really matter. But they caught hers really early, and so far she has not had any Symptoms, setbacks, nothing other than the initial problems that led to her getting diagnosed with this in the first place, which was some vision issues. She's always had great eyesight. She got to where she was having some trouble with her eyes, so she just thought maybe she needed glasses, but they, check her eyes, her vision was fine. They couldn't figure it out, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, took about 6 months or so, but they finally figured out she had MS. It's not an easy condition to test for. There are tests, but it involves testing your spinal fluid, basically, and so it's not something they just immediately, well, let's just test for MS just to rule that out. It doesn't really work. They try to rule everything else out first. So anyway, she hasn't gotten any worse. She hasn't really had any episodes, nothing. So they put her on some sort of MS medicine, several actually, a couple of years ago, and she's been fine. And some people with MS live to be 80, 90, 100, 110 years old, and they have no issues, nothing else pops up, whatever. And obviously that's what we're hoping for Mrs. Lou. But it can affect your speech, your hearing, your vision, your balance, your ability to walk. I mean, there's been people with MS who were fine today, and then tomorrow they wake up and they can't get out of bed, and it just comes out.
Yep.
You never know. That's the worst part about MS, in my opinion. Whatever that's worth, someone who doesn't even have it. Is the not knowing thing. Like you can literally feel fine today and then wake up tomorrow and you can't see, or you can't talk, or you can't hear, or you can't balance yourself, or you can't walk. Now, Mrs. Lou hasn't had any of that, and God willing, she never will. But the possibility always exists, and it's just it's other than taking the medicine and eating some certain types of foods that are high in this or high in that, there's not really a whole lot preventative you can do. Once you have it, you have it. There is no cure. There is medicine that slows down the progression of the disease. Basically, it causes lesions on your brain that then affect, depending on where the lesions show up, affects your ability to see, hear, talk, walk, those kinds of things.
I got a question, Lou.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this. MS is not gender specific, is it?
No.
Reason I ask is I have a really good friend that lives out in California. She was diagnosed with MS, and what reminded me of that was when you talked about the physical debilitation that can come with it. That's her biggest. I don't want to say downfall, but that's the symptoms that she experiences most with MS. And just thinking about it, I was like, man, I don't recall ever hearing of any of my buddies or anybody, period, that are males that have it. So that's why I asked. I just wanted to.
I actually
sure.
knew a guy that had it, but this was before Mrs. Lou was ever diagnosed with it. And this guy had it for like 20 years. And when you first meet him and you're talking to him, you sort of notice like something looks a little off. Like it's hard to, you almost have to, like, you find yourself looking like, what, something looks off here. Part of his mouth doesn't move. It's almost like a Bell's palsy thing with that.
Okay.
with this other guy that I knew. That was how it was affecting him. It wasn't Bell's palsy can completely paralyze like half your face. That wasn't what this guy had, but it was just a little bit in his mouth. And that's why I say when you met him, you ever watched anything on TV where or a movie where, or a YouTube video where the sound didn't quite match up with the movement of the mouth?
Oh yeah.
And it's almost not noticeable, but just barely. That's sort of how it was with him. Now, your question about male and female, it may affect males and females differently. I don't know the statistics. Like men are more likely to have their speech affected versus women more likely to have maybe their balance affected or something. I don't.
Right.
That may be true. I don't know. I'm not an expert on the numbers and
Richard Smith says women are 4 times more likely to get it than men.
Okay.
Not sure what Richard Smith's criteria for that is, but I'll take his word for it.
Yeah.
And it just, like I said, I don't know if you'd ever noticed, it seems like it's mostly women that have it.
Right. So we went and did that this weekend, the MS walk. That was the first time I have done one. Mrs. Lou did one 2 years ago, about 6 months after she was diagnosed. She flew to New York this time of year and did the national MS walk in New York the first year she had it. And then last year we were going to do the one in Augusta, but my daughter ended up having a dance competition that was out of town that same weekend, so we weren't able to do it. This year it worked out.
Did you happen to mention how many kilometers or miles your MS walk was? Just curious.
That's a good question. When you sign up to do it, you sign up to do 1 mile or 3 miles.
Oh, okay.
Now, why they ask you that, why you have to choose, I don't know. And once you're there, we signed up for the 3 mile. I don't think we walked 3 miles, but there's no markers or anything that say, okay, this is half a mile, this is a mile. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know what the purpose is of them having you choose 1 or 3 miles, but
maybe it could have something to do with people's level of MS. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But
I was surprised.
Good for you guys that you did that.
Yeah, it was a good turnout, and I've never. That's the first time I've ever actively participated in anything charity driven. I think I've donated money before, to causes or whatever, but I've never done like a cancer walk or a heart walk or, so that was the first time I've actively participated, and it does make you feel good. I didn't really do anything but walk around and talk to people, but I don't know, just being there, knowing the reason that everyone is there or whatever, I don't know, it does make you feel good. So I was glad we went and did it. I'll definitely do it again. And the weather was nice. We had a great time. So anyway, that's
it was a great weekend weather-wise.
Yeah.
Great. Was it nice and warm down there?
It was windy in the morning. It wasn't cold. It was windy, and that made it cold when we first got there. But by the time the walk got started and everything, it ended up being a great day. It was 65 degrees, sunny, so it worked out. Yeah, it worked out good. Your cousin Urban Meyer's back in the news. BVD.
Okay.
He says this is
what's cousin Irby done?
He says this is the year.
Oh boy.
This is the year that Dan Mullen beats Georgia.
Oh. So, with that thought in mind, I guess Mr. Myers, Urban Myers, also thinks that Mullet's going to win his first division title this year. That would be the general common sense thinking, would it not?
I would assume that. I didn't see that he said that exactly, but I would assume that that's where I think most people think the winner of that game probably going to win the East. So I'm assuming that's the angle he was taking, but
well, apparently he forgot to consult with me on this before making that announcement, because if he had consulted with me, he would know that Tennessee's going 15-0, so there's no way in hell that Florida could win the East. Yeah. Anyway.
And I'd also like to take this time to apologize to Urban Meyer, his family, Ohio State fans, and anyone else that may have been upset or offended about the jokes that I've been making about Urban Meyer over the last 2 years. I was 100% wrong. So I want to apologize for that. Clearly, he does have a brain condition.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Because
I
otherwise,
guess
you have to have a brain
neutral,
condition to make that statement. Dan Mullen's going to beat Georgia. Jesus Christ.
As a neutral, I'm not going to call myself a fan, but an innocent, we'll just call me an innocent bystander when it comes to Georgia, Florida. I don't really know what to think about that. I just know I'm glad that Urban is no longer in the SEC and hopefully no longer in coaching. Hopefully he'll actually stay gone this time.
Well, let me ask you this. If you had to bet every dollar you have that Tennessee wins one game between Georgia and Florida, knowing that you host Florida, have to play at Georgia, which game would you put, if you had to put all your money on it, one way or the other? Tennessee will win which one of those two?
I think, honestly, I think I would put my entire 27 cents on the Georgia game, and here's the reason why.
It's decisions like that led you to having 27 cents, sir.
The reason is we've at least beaten Georgia once or twice in the last umpteen years. It doesn't matter where we play Florida, man. Until we beat those bastards on some kind of regular basis, I just can't make myself believe that we're going to beat them.
Yeah.
2 years ago, I thought we had a really good chance.
Of course, you did beat them the same year you beat Georgia last. So
see, there you go. It's a flip of the coin.
Yeah.
The common sense thinking would be, pick Florida because the game's here.
Do you want to take this opportunity to explain to us once again how it is that you beat Georgia and Florida in the same season in 2016, but still didn't win the East?
That's an easy answer. 2 words. Lyle Jones. Only that tard could screw that one up. I think you or I could have very easily coached that team to Atlanta that year. But hey, what are you going to say, man? The dude was in the process of setting some of the most negative records ever set at UT. So he's the gift that keeps on giving.
Hey, I'm bringing back a segment later in the show this morning after we had Ballard on for a little while that I used to do when I ran the show by myself. It's called Today in LouTube History. And I want you to get in on this too, BVD, maybe once a week, once every couple of weeks, however often you want to do it, really. I want you to search your channel and find us a video from the current month, but years ago. So, in other words, I have a video I'm going to play today of mine from March of 2015. So I want you to do that every once in a while too, and we'll do moment in BVD history. It doesn't matter, once a week, whatever, once every 2 weeks, however often you feel like it. And I want to add the moment in BVD history to the morning show routine too. It can be a football video. It can be maybe a video you made 5 years ago that's somehow related to something that's going on now. It can be totally unrelated. It can be just something funny that you found. Whatever.
The month is what makes it difficult. So that'll be really fun to try and search up something, from March.
Right. And, my channel started out, didn't have anything to do with football. So when I do like moment in LouTube histories from Marches, Aprils, Mays, or whatever, there's a lot of some crazy stuff to choose from. You remember some of the Mean Bean videos and that. So
some tinfoil hat moments, I'm sure.
So we'll add Ballard here in just a minute. Ballard, I'm gonna give you a call here in just a minute, and we'll add you. Not a whole lot of college football news that I'm aware of, BVD, outside of Urban Meyer stepping on a rake. Anything else? Anything you know of?
I mean, other than spring practice having started for some schools, not really. I mean,
I think Georgia and Tennessee start this week. Georgia
Yeah.
and Tennessee, I think, start this week.
10th.
Yeah, tomorrow, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we're right on it.
Mm-hmm.
The news will definitely be cranking up.
And I think
Tuesday and Thursday.
Georgia and Tennessee, I think, are going to have some similar storylines with spring practice. It's going to be a lot about the quarterback situation. You know, Tennessee fans want to, it's just a spring, and you got to be careful about what you see or hear in spring as far as trying to project that to September, because
it's impossible.
Yeah, like Georgia's, we got a new OC. I think everyone knows Georgia's going to sort of open the offense up a little bit this season. I don't expect to see a whole lot of that in the spring, But, Tennessee's got Harrison Bailey coming in. Garantano came back. You got the other guy that played some last year. What was his name?
Maurer,
Yeah.
Trout, and
Yeah.
we got the transfer from Maryland. And somebody else, too. We got 5 of them.
Right.
Surely to God, out of 5, we can find one that's serviceable.
Yeah, and so you have the guy Garantano with a ton of experience and starts and all that, but Tennessee fans are sort of on the fence about him. After the first 2 weeks last year, people were ready to run him out of town. And then of course Harrison Bailey, probably, he has to be one of the highest rated quarterback recruits you guys have gotten in a while.
I would dare to say since Manning.
Yeah, so a lot of people are excited to see him and what he can do, and it's a similar thing at Georgia. Like, I don't expect to watch spring practice and go, "Yep, now I'm confident in what we're going to have in the fall." But people want to see the quarterback situation at Georgia. They want to see Carson Beck. They want to see what Jamie Newman looks like in a Georgia uniform. They want to see Dwan Mathis run around some more, that kind of thing. So.
You know the old saying, Lou, everybody's favorite player on a football team is the backup quarterback.
That's 100% accurate.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I learned many, many years ago, as I'm sure you did too, not to buy into pretty much anything that happens in the spring game. Now, spring practice is one thing, but that so-called game that all these colleges finish up their spring practice with. I used to get so excited. Oh, look at Fred, man. Fred had 260 yards rushing. He's going to dominate the league this year. And the dude didn't even start. You know?
Right.
And it's usually quarterbacks that end up with that same probable. In fact, it happened at Tennessee a few years ago. It might have been JG had an amazing spring game. No, it wasn't. It was Worley had an amazing spring game. Come out regular season, couldn't throw it in the damn dirt. It happens.
It does happen. Super chats happen too. Michael Gill, thank you for the super chat, sir. That was pretty much first thing when the show started. Sorry, I'm just now getting around to it. But he says, "Good morning, Lou and BVD. Back with the Degenerates for another week."
Yes.
Yeah, if it's Degenerates you're looking for, you came to the right place. I can tell you that right now. And Celine
Chock
Driver,
full of
thank
them.
you for tuning in this morning. He says, "Nice jacket, Lou." Thank you. Decided to dress up this morning, again, for no particular reason at all.
Well, Lou, there was no super chat, but I feel it necessary to tell everyone that apparently Snake Spencer 725 has had his morning dose of crack or meth. He says only one team going 15-0, and that team resides in Columbus, Ohio. I don't know if Worthington High School is going 15-0 or not, but only one team can go 15-0 in college football, Snake, and tell them who it is, Lou. Just tell them. See,
it's the Tennessee Vols.
Yeah, see, Snake. Hang around here a little bit more and you'll learn this stuff. But we love you anyway.
All right, let's get Ballard added into the show here. Some of you probably, or most of you probably recognize his name. He comments on the live shows. We'll add him to the show. We'll let him introduce himself to you guys. But first, still with the bad news, BVD, but we still don't have a sponsor for the morning show lately. If you want to sponsor the morning show, email lewandbvd@gmail.com. It's easy to do. Almost anyone can do it as long as you're 18 or over. Sorry for your troubles, Big 12 Genius. He's still on and on. Now he's on my Instagram page commenting on all my pictures, asking can he sponsor the show. How many times do we have to tell him no?
Really?
But anyway.
No means no.
Give us shoot us an email, lewandbvd@gmail.com, and maybe have a YouTube channel, podcast, you own your own business. Maybe you're just a troll and you want to do something funny. Whatever the case, almost anyone can do it. And it's not expensive, so give us an email, lewandbvd@gmail.com. All right, BVD, if you will hold on just a second, sir, I'm going to add our buddy Ballard to the show.
Gotcha.
Hello.
Good morning in that, but you're on with Lou and BVD, though.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, BVD. How you guys doing?
Man, great.
Well, I think we all know I'm outstanding.
Yeah, no doubt about
That
it.
is true.
This is Ballard's first time joining us as a host on the morning show. So, Ballard, we always extend the same courtesy. Feel free to introduce yourself any way you see fit. You can tell people as much or as little about yourself as you want to. And if there's anything you need to pimp or promote, now would be a good time to do it.
Well, first off, I appreciate you guys having me on. Big fan of both channels, both you, Lou, and of course BVD. I catch him on his night shows, and I'm trying to be a sportscaster. That's the whole deal behind my channel. I want to one day. I keep saying that I want to be like Paul Feinbaum and have my own call-in show, talk show, work for ESPN. But if like a small radio show or whatever is all I have, I mean, then that's what works out. But so.
So are you high school, college? What?
I'm currently a senior in high school. I'm
Okay.
working on the second semester.
Gotcha. Okay. And do you have? Are you planning on going to college to get some sort of degree in that area, or what?
Yeah.
What's?
Yeah, there's a small school down here. It's a community college. I'll be honest. I'm not the best in every subject. I'll be honest. I'm like a B or C student. So, but I'll probably go to a local college that has a degree in like broadcasting or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'd probably go there, get the degree, and just see where it goes.
Well, you won't find a better proving ground than YouTube to be a sports broadcaster. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Uncle Lou would agree. I wish we'd have had this when we were your age.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You can find out. You can find out real quick. Whether or not you really want to do this, and two, whether or not you have the ability. And I've seen some of your shows, and I think you're on a good career path.
If nothing else, doing a YouTube thing at your age in preparation for trying to become a professional in that area, I would imagine that one of the hardest things that people in that line of work have to get used to when they first start is just being on camera. That's hard for a lot of people to do. Just
Right.
It scares a lot of people. It makes a lot of people nervous. Reading a teleprompter, being on camera, hearing your own voice played back. Like, these are things that, I don't even think about anymore because I've been doing this for so long. But I remember, that's the hardest thing, I think, when you first start a YouTube channel, is just being comfortable putting yourself out there like that. So, you'll have a leg up in that area over other people.
I would agree.
Sure. Yeah.
It is tough. So when I make a video or a live stream, right? So so I'll talk to you about this. I do a MLB show on Mondays. I call it the Foul Out. I figured I'd probably get a catchy title or something, and I'm like, what are some baseball terms or something that sounds like it's baseball or whatever. So I call that the Foul Out. And then I have something called Off the Court, which I talk NBA and college basketball. Well, I will type out my notes for the shows prior to the shows. I'll do those in the afternoons. I'll do the notes in the morning, so I'm prepared. And I think that's very important. So, when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ballard, any broadcaster worth his salt will tell you that preparation is the key. I know I've watched documentaries on John Ward. I watched a documentary on Larry Munson, all the great SEC play-by-play guys, and every one of them one of the first things they say is preparation. So
Yeah.
If you don't
You're on the
believe,
right
if
path.
you don't believe how important preparation is,
here we
then
go.
just watch one of mine or BVD's shows, and you'll.
Sometimes that doesn't even
Because-
matter, does it, Lou?
Well, what I'm saying is there's zero preparation, and it shows. So preparation is key.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because you can have all the experience, and again, I'll bring up someone like Stephen A. Smith or Feinbaum. They prepare. They've been in the business for years, and they still prepare. I guarantee you that.
You know what
It
else,
doesn't-
too? I think there's a difference between, especially when it comes to, I'm making jokes about me and BVD not being prepared, but I think it's a totally different, and again, I never went to college for this, so I don't know. These are just my uneducated opinions. I think it's a totally different skill set and everything, like being like a sports center guy,
Right.
like a highlight read off guy. Like that's clear. You're just reading everything off a teleprompter versus doing like a 3-hour radio show. I don't know how much preparation you really can do. Like take Feinbaum, for example. Outside of knowing about college football, what could Feinbaum possibly do to actually prepare day to day for that show? He doesn't know what the people are going to say when they call in. So
That's true.
I think in something like that, or even what me and BVD do on the morning show, I think it helps to have a general knowledge of whatever it is you're doing. In our case, typically college football. But I think if you're like a news guy, like you work for a local radio station and you do the 6 o'clock news, that's where I really think like preparation. Like you probably have to spend 2 or 3 hours. Same thing for like the Sports Center people. They probably have to spend like 2 or 3 hours before the show starts. Like here's what we're gonna say, here's what we're gonna do,
Right.
that whole kind of thing. But a
Totally
lot of
huge
radio
difference.
is off the cuff, like or even Feinbaum show. It's a radio show that just gets broadcast on TV. I think a lot of what he says and does is off the cuff.
That kind of lends to my comment. I was going to say there's a total difference between being a broadcaster on TV and a broadcaster on the radio. Clearly, if you're broadcasting, John Ward used to always say it. He doesn't. He describes the game. He doesn't talk about the game. He would describe it, and that's what your job is as a radio guy, is to try and make your listeners feel like they're there and actually seeing the same thing. TV, totally different thing. I would think it would be harder almost to do play-by-play on TV.
Yeah, probably so. And I kind of I've watched football games and I listen. So I have the app, the Tide Radio Network app, so I can hear. Like take Eli Gold for example. When he calls a play, he's like, 1st and 10 Alabama, Tua in shotgun formation. He's got Najee Harris to his right. They don't really say Najee Harris to his right on TV because you can see that. They just kind of call it like it is,
That's the difference between somebody like Eli Gold, Larry Munson, John Ward, and the guy that does Tennessee football now. The dude's been doing it for over 20 years, and he came in as a TV guy.
Right.
And you can tell, even 20 years later, you can tell he was a TV guy. That's, I'm just one of many Tennessee fans that doesn't like the guy, so he's never going to win me over.
Now, we're talking about being on YouTube and using that as good experience to go into this professionally on TV or whatever the case, but we actually know somebody who did it the other way around.
Yeah.
Do you watch much of him?
Who is it?
Mark Rogers.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, listen, if you're a college football fan, who doesn't watch Mark Rogers? I mean, he calls himself the voice of college football, and I don't blame him. I get he's not at ESPN, but he
is. Actually, he is at ESPN.
Is he really?
He works for ESPN, yeah.
I missed that. What's he do?
Well, he can tell you the whole story if you ask him, but he went to college for what you want to go to college for. he
Right.
did the local TV market thing where he was the on-air sports guy at a 6 o'clock local news broadcast, news, the sports guy or whatever, and worked his way up and eventually got to ESPN. To my knowledge, he's never been on the air for ESPN in terms of being on TV, but his voice has been. He used to do a lot of the voice stuff for ESPN.com. And he still works at ESPN now. I don't know exactly what he does for ESPN now. And I'm not putting Mark Rogers' business out in the street or anything. He has told this story multiple times on his own show. He's told the story on my show. So I don't want anybody to think I'm saying things about Mark Rogers that he wouldn't want people to know. He will tell you all about this if you ask him. But so he started out in local TV and then did some, ended up at ESPN. And now he's on YouTube. So he did it sort of the opposite, the unconventional. Most people would do it the other way around, like what you're doing. They would, let me start a YouTube channel or whatever, and I want to go to college, and this is what I want to do, and blah blah blah. He did all that first, and now has found himself on YouTube. But if you, I don't know how well you know Mark Rogers or how often you watch him, but that might be somebody that you want to get to know, because he probably. He's probably somebody that could, as far as tips, pointers, do's and don'ts for what you're looking to do, that might be somebody whose brain you would want to, pick. So, start watching some of his stuff, commenting to where he gets to know you or whatever, and then maybe send him an email or something. And he's very busy. I can tell you that. I make a joke about how busy I am. That dude, I don't see how. I don't know when he sleeps. I really don't. He works crazy hours at ESPN, and then he must upload 30 videos a week, it seems like sometimes. So plus all the live shows he does,
he does
on
like
YouTube. It's
2 or
crazy.
3 live shows a day, and probably does them back to back. And all.
Yeah. It's every time I don't feel like doing the YouTube thing, or I'm like, God, I'm getting burned out. I think about Mark Rogers, and I'm like, if he's doing it, I can do it, And he provides inspiration for me in terms of trying to work harder.
That's kind of surprising to me. Of course, I don't watch Mark. I know he's very knowledgeable at what he does, but first time I went and watched one of his live shows, and I prefer. When I watch somebody talk about something, I like for them to at least try to be entertaining. And the dude obviously knows what he's talking about.
Well, the thing about Mark Rogers is he very rarely gives opinions. He is more of a traditional. I don't know if you want to call it old school or I don't know how you would describe it. Yeah, he knows his stats and win-loss records and blah blah. But he's not a hot take guy. And and I'm not saying that's good or bad or right or wrong or better or worse than anything anyone else does or whatever. But a lot of people are attracted to YouTube because it's not ESPN. And
he kind of, I noticed when he has so he'll have like a Miami show, Ohio State. He did a Bama show a couple weeks ago. He has these people on, and he just kind of sits back and listens until a question might pop in his head. He's not one to just go on and talk really, but
that's kind of the beauty of Paul Feinbaum.
Yeah,
Paul Feinbaum's not the star of the Paul Feinbaum show. It's those quirky, weird ass callers,
That's why I don't understand the amount of people that hate Paul Feinbaum. I think he's a genius.
I think it's jealousy. I
think he's an absolute genius. Like you said, there was no one doing what he does when he started doing it. The whole let me just take phone calls and the wilder and crazier and more far-fetched and outlandish the callers are, the better. there was nobody doing that. And a lot of people think Feinbaum came out of the blue when the SEC network launched. Feinbaum's been doing this for 30 years. It started in it was an Alabama show, state of Alabama thing, local radio. And then he went regional, and then he got picked up by satellite radio for a while. And then the SEC network thing came around. But he's been doing what he's doing on the SEC network. He's been doing that same routine for 30 years. All these callers that seem to get in all the time, Jim from Tuscaloosa and all these people that you hear from almost every day, they have been calling Paul Feinbaum for 30 years.
That's what you call paying your dues, Luke. Right.
Yeah, right. And I think he's a genius. The format of his show, I mean, that's why I do the nighttime show and take calls. Now, I don't get crazy callers like I wish I did. I wish people would call into my show like people call into the Feinbaum show. But you can't create that. You have to just provide the platform and hope that happens. Now, if someone does call in and act like a loon, I encourage that, hoping then that it'll happen more, but that's not something you can create. You just have to sort of hope it happens. And Feinbaum struck gold with what he's got going on that call-in show.
Yeah, definitely. And I think so I called up last week, and the call that I had, because I've called him a couple times because he's an expert, right? He's very good at what he does. He's very professional, and I'm trying to be a talk show host. I really want to do a talk show host like him, be a sportscaster, all that stuff. So I will call up here or there and ask for advice. Well, I called up last week, and he gets crazy callers all the time. I was thinking, and I said, that's kind of what I want to do is have a call-in show. And I'm like, how do you handle a crazy caller? And I told him, I said, and I'm sure you've heard of the guy Jim from Tuscaloosa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I told him, I said, I don't mean to call anybody out, which was a lie. I was totally trying to call Jim out. And I said, how do you handle a caller like him? And he's like, well, you got to deal with. He's like, well, going into the call, you're dealing with someone who has anger issues. You're dealing with someone who has problems, and you just got to let them talk and hope that you can have a point where you can interrupt or whatever, so.
Well, you also got to keep in mind too, Ballard, Paul Feinbaum has the button. That's the beauty of hosting a talk show. If someone Lou has to deal with it now. It seems like every time he turns his phone on, some jackwagon, wants to be funny.
What's the deal with Lou? What's the deal with all these people calling up and they could call anyone in the world, but they call your show just to scream the N-word? What is going on with that?
Well, number one, they're huge fans. That's number one. Of me. Not necessarily of college football or whatever. They're just huge Uncle Lou fans. That's number one. You have to keep in mind, they're willing to wait on hold 45, 50, 55 minutes to be on the air for 2 seconds.
Just to scream one bad word.
Just so they can go, Nick, and then get cut off. So they're huge Uncle Lou fans. That's number one. Number two, they're all 14 and 15 years old, and they just don't have anything else to do.
They have no life. They probably live in their parents' basement or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always the possibility that they're trying to say, nice guy.
Right.
Never done this before. There's all kinds of possibilities they could be trying.
Well, they've moved on. They've sort of moved on from the N-word thing. Their thing now is to call up and tell me that my dead mother is a whore, cunt, slut, or, that kind of thing.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That's
so.
How
far into the call how far into the call before you realize that's where they're going? I've never heard that one yet.
Well, most of the times when I click them onto the air, they just right away scream it, whether it's going to be the N-word or Marsha Raycroft, And
you had a caller.
But sometimes they will actually pretend like they want to ask a question, like they'll ask me something, or they'll start to give an opinion, and then they'll let me talk for a second, and then when it's their turn to answer or whatever, instead of answering, they'll just go, no, the N-word, or Marshall Ray Cross a whore cunt.
I've noticed that they play you, because you had a guy on the show a couple weeks ago who called up talking about the ACC, and it's like, you gave your opinion on the ACC and how you have 6-win teams and Clemson, and, they got to play each other. Someone's got to win the games and all that. And just out of nowhere, he just said it, it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it, wow. It's crazy.
What was the one they did last time? They called up and asked me about my thoughts on Zamir White. I started talking about him. And then when it was their turn to talk again, they go, so how much do you think Zamir White would go for in a slave auction?
Oh, my God.
They're just,
These people are just pathetic.
Yeah.
They are wasting their time.
Then they go to school the next day and get their lunch money took. That's the kind of kids we're talking about here.
Or go brag to all their tarded buddies what they did.
Oh, they definitely do that.
Did you hear me on Uncle Lou last night? I almost got NI in.
Yeah.
My goal was to get the whole word in someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on from that. Topic. Oh, let's do. Now would be a good time to do. Let's do moment in LouTube history. So,
okay.
I was scrolling through YouTube. It was either last night or this morning. The recommended tab, and for some reason they thought it would be a good idea to recommend my own video to me. From 5 years ago. Now, a little background on this video, because if I just play the video, it won't make much sense. But the title of this video is called "Don't Tell Sports Live in the ATL to Chill."
Oh boy!
So what had happened is, it's kind of funny. He recently went to the mountains again. This clown. He recently went to the mountains again. But anyway, back in 2015, he took one of his solo vacations which is every vacation he's ever taken, to the mountains, and he's up in the mountains, and he's filming a video, and this was before live video, so he just uploaded a video or whatever while he was at the mountains, and I guess someone, or he must have been mad about something, and there must have been people in the comment section that were telling him to chill out. Again, I never saw the original video where he was mad. But when you watch this video that I'm about to play, I made this video using his video. And it's him responding to people who are telling him to chill out. But he recorded it in the mountains, and I think he recorded it on a calculator. It's in about, it must be like 240p, this is 1080p you're watching now. My videos I upload are uploaded in 4K.
Right.
When you see this video, it's in about 240p, and it's at about 5 frames per second. It almost looks like claymation when you watch it. It's just the cringiest thing you've ever seen, and it's his
one of
Slater's
classics, I'm sure.
Yes, and it's his response to people who are telling him that he needs to chill out. So,
and this is who?
This is Sports Live in the ATL. That's his YouTube name. His name is David.
Okay.
So here, sit back and enjoy this masterpiece here. Let's see. Let me see if I can get it up on the screen. Okay, here we go.
Let's go and get thing one straight, man. Perfectly clear. Basically, this video is just heed my words. The way of pronunciating things. 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 But don't you ever come on my videos and tell me to fucking chill. But don't come on and tell me to chill.
Pronunciating.
You don't tell me to chill. Nobody else tells me to fucking chill. Did I comment 10 times, dude, just chill? Shut the fuck up. Don't tell me to goddamn chill. I wouldn't tell you to chill. Again, you're not my brother or father, and you're in no position to tell me, a grown-ass man, to chill. Hell, you're not in a position to tell anybody to chill.
Well, I can't.
But once
hear
I say
it
this
through the
video,
phone.
it's done. Just don't ever fucking tell me to chill again. And if you think you might get the urge to do it, just shut up and don't. This is honest. I would say this to people off YouTube. Don't fucking tell me to chill. Okay? Adults don't tell me to chill. Definitely kids don't tell me to fucking chill. Being at 43, I deserve a little more respect than that. Seriously, don't. But I'm done with it now. It goes as you want to continue it after this. And don't call me out. You may think I'm weird. But adults and kids don't fucking tell me to chill. Especially kids and teenagers. Don't do that shit. I'm a 43-year-old man. Respect your elders. What your mama told you. Respect your motherfucking elders. I'm a man! I'm 40! I'm a grown-ass man. Fucking chill. Me to chill. Chill and to chill. Hell,
look, man, before you get too mad, just say, 'cause I know I don't want to hurt your feelings, so before you get too mad, just leave you with just this one little bit of advice. You need to chill. All right, so that's that. That's
Oh man,
Sports
that's
Live
good.
in the ATL. Please stop. Please, whatever you do, please just stop telling him. Stop telling
you know
him
what
to
he
chill.
really needs to do? He just needs to chill.
And the
I
reason
think you guys need to chill.
The reason I decided to play that this morning, well, one of the reasons is he made a video. I don't know if you saw it. I think it was about a week ago, BVD. Somebody, and it wasn't me this time, but somebody must have taken one of his videos and used it in one of their videos. You know what I mean? How you can download somebody else's video, like I just did. And
Yeah.
he made a video and a bunch of comments that people are no longer allowed to use his video clips in their videos, and if they do, he's going to get their channel shut down, and he's going to copyright strike them and all this kind of stuff, which he obviously has no clue what fair use is.
Not sure.
Him
and I
going
hate
off
to-
on that gave me the idea. Or I didn't actually have the idea then, but then when I was going through my yeah, it completely cut out. Hold on. All right, it's back on now.
Yeah, you're good now.
All right. All right. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Maybe Sleeta copyright striked me.
There we go.
Could be.
He's so
Hey,
funny.
look,
though. Every argument he's ever had with anybody, right, on YouTube, the same thing. I don't watch you anyway.
Yeah, and he wins every argument
If you believe what he says, then he's never watched anybody on YouTube ever, because every time he gets mad at somebody, I don't watch him anyway. Yeah, we can tell by how mad you are that you don't watch him.
Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, BVD, keep that in mind. We need to do moment in BVD history later this week or next week, whenever you find something that you think we might enjoy.
I'll work on that tomorrow when I have a quote unquote day off.
Yeah. So
You guys should try to do something, because I know. Of course, Lou has his. You have your night shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays, right? And
Yeah.
then BVD is live Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You should have just like clips of your live streams outside of the morning shows or whatever. Maybe you even throw some in. And just have like some BVD and Lou's best moments from this past week, and just do it on a Monday or something.
Yeah, that
If
sounds
you
like that
could,
would take a
man.
lot of time.
Oh yeah, that is true. But I didn't think about time and all. But yeah.
You know what we need to do, Lou, is make like a not a PSA, but like a small 30-minute, maybe, or 30-second or 60-second morning show commercial, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
Ad to put up on both of our channels, because believe it or not, there's people that actually don't know this show exists. I know that's hard to believe, that every American human doesn't know that this show exists, but we might could even reach a couple of people.
Imagine what a miserable human being you'd have to be not to watch the morning show.
All right.
Oh, somebody left me a comment on one of the morning shows from last week. I wish it would take me too long to find it, or I'd pull it up. But it was the comment was basically, remember how good this channel used to be before it turned into the Today Show?
That just means we're doing the job exactly correctly.
Oh my God. I said, watching is optional. So you have the right not to watch the morning show. The problem is you probably don't have the ability not to watch it.
The ones that kill me are the ones I'm unsubbing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, especially for somebody like you that's up in near 30,000 or more. Boy, that one sub, that's going to screw you up, Lou.
Right. Or
He's
like
gonna
all
tell
these
his friends.
all these Clemson fans who've been watching me for years, and I make a video, I dog Ohio State. They're all in the comment section. Oh, this is hilarious. I love it when you dog these teams, or I dog Tennessee or whoever, and these Clemson fans love it. I've never made one bad video about Clemson, right? I mean, I did laugh at them when they lost to Syracuse that time, but so did everyone else. But so I made that Clemson video the other day, and there's multiple ones of them in there. I used to respect your opinion, but now, I'm unsubbing now. Yeah.
Is that let me ask you this: that Georgia Clemson game is next year, right?
Yeah, 2021.
Is that a neutral site, or is that in
A neutral site.
Athens, or where's that at?
That's a neutral site game. We do have we have 2 separate home series already scheduled with Clemson over the next 12 years, but this one is a neutral site game. But we play there twice, and they play in Athens twice between now and 2032, but this one's in Charlotte next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway. T2Y exclusive. The Pine Cone. Thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, Lou looks like he works for Manny Diaz's used car dealership. Manny Diaz doesn't have a used car dealership yet. Now, he might this time next year.
He's working on it, isn't he?
He's fastly approaching that. Yeah, he might get promoted.
He's working on being Nick Saban's next offensive analyst.
Yeah, that's right. Nick Saban's home for disgraced coaches.
Hey, we hired some people like that recently. Lou, I meant to talk about that last night, but got involved talking to somebody else and forgot. I forget what they call those guys.
Talking about Jeremy Pruitt?
Pruitt hired a couple of analysts.
Believe it or not, Coach, this is fact. Coaches that really suck at being a head coach that go to Alabama get a job promotion.
Well, Ballard, you as a Bama fan, you should know that Butch Jones is your head coach in waiting.
No, he's not going to be the head coach.
Of course he is. Why do you
These are
think
called-
it is?
Oh,
Every
my God.
single Alabama coach gets poached. Who's the one coach that's been? There's only one coach that's been at Alabama the last 3 years.
Ain't no poaching that guy, is
No, he's the only one that Saban says you can have anybody you want, but you can't have him. You cannot have Lyle because he's next.
there? How about this one? Pruitt hired Andrew Warsaw to be the program's director of football operations. I always thought the damn head coach was the director of football operations. I want to know what these guys do, And then
Y'all hired? Did you say Tennessee hired a director of football operations?
Listen to this. Yes, here's the opening statement.
Yeah,
in
why?
this
Miami
article.
did that too.
The Vols hired Andrew Warsaw to be the program's director of football operations, with former director of operations Todd Watson becoming the new director of programming for football. What the hell is that?
What's going on here?
That sounds a lot like the same thing, don't it?
Yeah. Miami hired, who was it Miami hired to do that? Ed Reed?
Oh, they've also poached, speaking of the word poach, they've poached former Notre Dame and Memphis offensive coordinator Chip Long. Let's see, what's Chip Long going to be doing? think he's going to be the defensive analyst or some ridiculous shit. Like
Now,
that.
I do.
Basically, these guys are going to get paid a lot of money to do squat.
Well, I do think there's a correlation between Alabama does this, Georgia does this. Sounds like now maybe you're saying Tennessee's going to do this, but you're only allowed to have so many on-field coaches per NCAA regulations. But you can hire whoever the hell you want to sit in a room and do whatever. And so, like, Georgia has a staff of people. So does Alabama. Maybe this sounds like what Tennessee might be doing. I don't know. That they scout games 2-3 weeks in advance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all they do. These analysts. They're ex-coaches, position coaches, coordinators, whatever the case. They're not allowed to be an on-field coach because you're only allowed so many. But, like, okay, so, like, we play Alabama week 3. Well, this might be a bad example, but so Georgia's got a room full of people who week 1 are already looking at Alabama. You know what I mean? And then in week 3, they're looking at the week 5 opponent, while the on-field coaches are preparing for the current opponent, you know. But that is becoming a thing in college football, a lot of these analysts. And a lot of fired coaches end up getting these types of positions. And it started with Alabama when he would bring in these, you know, these people who were out of a job and they just study film all day long.
Something I was telling BVD last week in one of his streams was I noticed. So I was looking at the Alabama schedule when I was doing a Alabama preview video for this season, and I noticed. So you know how they call the Tennessee-Bama game the third Saturday rivalry? It's on the fourth Saturday of October. I don't know what the deal with that is.
That happens actually more often than you would think, Ballard. That's happened several times in the history of it.
That's interesting. They should just change the name to, well, I don't know what you would call it, but can't really think of anything.
No. See, you don't muck with tradition, Christian.
Unless you're a Barner, then there's no such thing as tradition. It's just excuses.
Monkey with. I'm sorry. That's the word I was looking for.
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't monkey with tradition.
Didn't they? Auburn tried to move. I think you were talking. Lou said in one of his videos from last year when he previewed, he did the best case, worst case. And in the Auburn video, you got so upset because the Barners tried to move the Georgia game, right?
They did move it.
They did?
Yeah, we play Auburn like when we flip-flopped Auburn and Tennessee. So now we play Auburn 5th week or so, 6th week, whatever it is, and we play Tennessee late in November.
I know they tried to move the Iron Bowl game, I think, when they were trying to move the Georgia game. And I'm thinking, you better not.
That will never. Two things that'll never happen: the Iron Bowl being moved up, and the third Saturday in October being moved.
Well, Auburn's got more wins over Alabama in the last 20 years than they do over Georgia. So that it's the Georgia game that was giving them the problem, not Alabama. So that's why they wanted the Georgia game moved.
You know what's going to be fun, Lou? I tell you what's going to be real fun, and this is not necessarily a shot at you, Christian. What's going to be really fun is here in a few years when the bottom falls out of the Alabama wagon, and they hit the shitter, and all these young guys like Christian that have been Bama fans, quote unquote, their entire lives, they're not going to know how to handle losing.
Oh,
and it's going to be fun to see the mass exodus.
This was technically the year up because I got my channel December. I did not know how to handle that blowout loss to Clemson. Listen, I get Clemson's a good program, but
you're in trouble, young man.
You have seen in recent history, it's always been a close game between those two. Bama's never lost by 28 points. I've never seen that. I've been watching Alabama for almost a decade now, and I've never seen like that. And that hurt. I was jaw-dropped, speechless. I couldn't even cry. I was in so much shock. It was insane.
You've heard the term before, college football is cyclical. You've heard that? Cyclical, runs in cycles.
Oh, I think so.
That works for teams. Usually you hear that from teams like programs like Tennessee who are in the shitter right now, and things are really sucking. But
Oh, yeah.
I've said it a million times. Football's cyclical. We'll be back. That works for teams that are kicking ass too.
Yeah.
I can't think of one single program out there that's not had some shitty eras. So
for
just
sure.
keep that in mind.
I won't be able to watch football this year because we have we got rid of our live TV because we have Hulu, and they upped the price. I don't know if it was like maybe $10-15 a month. They upped it up to like $60 a month, and we got rid of live TV. So I'm like, great, I won't be able to watch any live sports or anything. So
That's
the best thing
unacceptable.
I have is I listen to the Eli Gold call for the Alabama games, and one game on the schedule that I'll keep an eye on and watch highlights and stuff. But Tennessee plays Oklahoma in Norman this year. That'll be interesting.
Yep.
Yes, it will.
You know that you're 18, right, Christian?
Yes.
They have these places. I don't know if you're familiar. I don't know exactly where you live in Alabama. You don't have to say. But they have these places where, like, I'm not sure what they're called, but when you walk in the door, they've got a bunch of TVs everywhere, and they're playing live football games. You know, you are allowed to go to those.
Oh,
Just-
hold on. Those are called restaurants. Yeah. I know what you're
It's
talking about.
gotta help the Gumps sometimes, Lou.
Well, you can also go to Walmart and buy an HD antenna for $15 and watch all the Alabama games that come on CBS.
Yeah,
It's
which
true.
would be probably half of them.
Yeah, we get a lot of 3:30 games, and
I mean, the Georgia game will
The
definitely
Iron
be to
Bowl,
CBS.
yeah.
You know, Georgia Alabama will be CBS for sure. The Iron Bowl is always CBS 3:30. So
the
you
Auburn game's
bunch of 'em
always
that way.
CBS too. So
So
Yeah, that'd be the Iron Bowl.
yeah, that's always a 3:30 CBS game because we just can't have a great, good old nighttime show with Auburn, even though we got those new lights this year. So
hold on a second here. Something
Well,
called. You need to unhide him,
Who?
Benjamin. I'm talking to the comment section.
Oh.
Mr. MVP, someone just removed you from the channel, and they shouldn't have done that. So, hold tight, my brother.
yeah.
We're gonna fix that real quick.
Oh man, Mr. MVPS left that terrible comment. How have you been, Miss May?
You need to let me see if I can unhide him.
Oh,
I don't.
good
think
morning. There's another awful comment from Mr. MVP.
Unhide.
This happens more and more lately, doesn't it, Lou?
I unhid you, MVP. That he didn't mean to do that. That was an accident. He hit the wrong button, I guess. Celine Driver, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, I want to sponsor the show again soon. Okay, yep, let us know, because currently we're driving the struggle bus BVD with the sponsor because we don't have one. So if you want to sponsor the show, email lewandbvd@gmail.com.
Hey, it's just a
Tom,
matter of
thank
time.
you
I
for the
knew
super
Celine
chat.
Driver would have our back.
Yeah. Waikiki, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, for a heads up, Sports Live in the ATL is monetized now. Yep, he sure is. Celine Driver, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, being a participant hosting this show, I take offense to being compared to the Today Show. This show is watchable. NBC is pure doo-doo.
do.
Shane Bentley, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, once Manny Diaz opens the car dealership, he should hire Butch Jones for garbage disposal services. Hashtag champions of life. Wouldn't that be something? A car dealership conglomerate with lots all over the country run by disgraced ex-head football coaches.
Here's a video idea.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be something?
The Police had a song about doo-doo.
The Police had a song about doo-doo?
Yeah, the doo-doo-doo, da-da-da-da.
Oh.
Oh man.
That's most of the kids in the comment section that literally had no clue what I'm talking
A lot of
about.
people just logged off. Well, the police? What? I'm out of here. They got to go
Yeah.
hide. Now they got
This
warrants.
guy got the popo on us.
Yeah. Are you you're
Speaking-
homeschooled, Ballard?
Do what?
Are you? Did you say you were homeschooled?
Yeah, I kind of work around, so when I do the channel and everything, I work around my school schedule. I'm kind of working my own pace and everything.
Yeah. How does that work?
Normally do school during the mornings and the afternoons a little bit, and then I don't know. I normally do a live stream. If I do a live stream like on Tuesdays or Thursdays, I might do around 2 or 3, something like that, and get some school done in the morning.
So
No.
being homeschooled, is paddling legal at your school?
Do what?
Is paddling still legal at your school since you're homeschooled?
No, I haven't been whooped in a long time.
Were you always homeschooled?
Do what?
Have you always been homeschooled?
No, I was in public school for elementary, but I've been homeschooled pretty much since the 6th grade,
Okay.
since middle school. So
That's a fairly legit question, Lou. I might have to bring that up sometime since I did actually talked about paddling in one of my streams last week. Maybe we need to find out what the national law is on paddling in homeschools.
Homeschooling has always interested me. I've never known anybody that was homeschooled. Have you, BVD?
Well, one of my friends, both his daughters, started in public schools, and they ended up finishing their school being homeschooled. And for some people, it's a great thing. And then I think it's probably a trial and error basis, maybe for a lot of them. I personally think kids should have that public school experience. Of course, now there's probably going to be some parents out there, if they would hear that, say, not all kids need to be in public schools. Well, it's not been too terribly long ago that you didn't have a choice. But it's to each his own. If it works, and it clearly does work for a lot of people.
How does sports work where you're at with homeschooling? Here, if you're homeschooled here, you can try out and play for whatever public school you would be zoned for if you went to public school. How does it work where you're at?
for me,
Yeah,
BVD is not homeschooled.
I'm still in public school.
So the thing I do, it's called Florida Virtual School. So, and what they have 2 types. They have a full-time, and then they have what they call flex or part-time. Part-time is basically you work at your own pace, any time of day you want, as long as you stay on pace with when you need to finish by the end of the semester. If you do full-time, it's like actual school hours. And there is no taking a break. I think I've never done it, but I think it's supposed to be like you just sit down and you actually communicate with the teacher and other students, and you learn, basically like that. But
Yeah, but I was asking about playing sports though.
playing sport, I don't play any sports, but
what if you wanted to? What would your options be?
I'm really not sure. I think, there's like this, I don't know what it's called, but I have done in the past this homeschool group. Like my mom, when she would homeschool me and my brother, we did this, I don't even remember what it was called.
I'm going to be honest. I can't imagine there being anyone else who's homeschooled who knows as little about homeschooling as you do.
I just know
you need to fire your teacher.
You know what I would worry about if I were to choose to homeschool my kids would not be the education they would receive academically. Right. It would be the social education that is impossible to receive at home.
Right.
That's true. The best I have right now is like people like you guys. I watch the streams and everything, of course. And see, this is what my friends are right here, man.
Well, and I'm not saying that, believe me, there's plenty of people who went to public school their entire life and still are social degenerates and can't get along in a group of people. So it's not, you don't have to have that. That would be one like if I ever seriously considered wanting to homeschool my kids, that would be something I would consider.
That's
Like, what
one of the
about,
top priorities.
you know, like, I don't think anyone should be bullied. I'm not promoting that, but you do learn how to, you know, you learn certain things in school that I just wonder, how do you learn those things if you're not in school?
Yeah, public schools teach us so much more beyond what we learn in the books. I mean,
yeah, that would be my. I mean, I believe with the right curriculum and parent interaction or whatever, you could probably get a much better academic education at home than you could in most public. I guess it's like anything else. If you go to a really good school, public school, private school, doesn't matter, or homeschooled, if you've got teachers that care, whether that's your parents or an actual teacher, you know, so I guess that has a lot to do with it too.
There's a lot of people out there that need more time on assignments. I'm one of those people. I need more time on an assignment or something. I can't handle, oh man, the bell rang, I'm not even halfway done or whatever. I was struggling so much. But the good thing about homeschooling is there is no bell. I can just, work at my own pace, turn it in when I'm done. If I need more time, I need more time, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's great. That's great until you get a job.
Yeah.
You know.
You don't learn anything about deadlines.
Yeah, you come in late and you're like, I hit snooze a few times. And the boss is like,
tell me what in school suspension's like for somebody that's homeschooled. How's that work?
I don't know. I mean,
we're not laughing at you, Christian. We're laughing with you, sir.
I know that. I don't know. They're like, I don't know.
Are you an only child?
Do what?
Are you an only child, or do you have classmates?
For this, unless I do something that's called a live lesson, where you can, first off, it's pretty cool. You get 100 on an assignment if you do the live lesson, and you work with a teacher and some other students.
Sir, are you an only child?
I have a brother.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
I think he was going to eventually get to that. I think.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
I think maybe.
So, is he homeschooled too?
No, he goes to public school.
Oh. Well, now I have a whole bunch of other questions.
How old is he? And you don't have to give us any personal stuff you don't want to. I'm with Lou now. I got all kinds of questions now.
2 years younger than me.
Okay.
So he's in the third grade.
I think.
Oh well, that is interesting. So clearly, you guys were given the option,
right,
of what you wanted to do. I wonder are you familiar with why he chose public school instead of being homeschooled?
I don't know.
I was going to say, if you don't know, you don't know. It's no big deal. That's interesting to me. I wish my daughter had been homeschooled now. Nah, I take that back. No, I don't.
Like, I can barely get through 10 minutes of homework in the evenings with my kids before I'm ready to strangle somebody.
God.
There's no way I could do. I could teach my own kids. There's just no way.
It's got to be the same for you, Lou. Sorry, Ballard. It's got to be the same for you, Lou. These freaking schools expect parents to be teachers nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's, there's a reason you and I are not school teachers.
Yeah, and don't get me started on Common Core.
Yeah.
That Common Core math.
Oh, no. Go ahead, Ballard.
Okay. It was pretty interesting when I first started, because my mom would homeschool me. My brother Zach was homeschooled at first, which I just shared his name, but whatever, we're gonna keep going. But anyway, we both were homeschooled at one point in middle school, and then I guess he chose to go to actual public school. But how it used to be, my mom was the teacher, and man, Was
He didn't
math.
he didn't like his teacher. That's what it was. That's why he went.
He didn't
that's why
like
he
his
went
teacher
public school.
and all them bullies at
Oh.
homeschool.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but
Hey, when you and your
no.
brother were both homeschooled at the same time, did you ever beat him up and take his lunch money?
you know what? Let's just say
What-
it was the other way. But anyway,
I bet you were on the free lunch program, weren't you?
yeah, pretty much.
Do
don't need
you
no
take
money.
your lunch to school or do you eat in the cafeteria?
Sometimes I take my lunch to school. Sometimes
How's the bus ride to school every morning?
it's pretty short, actually. Just a couple steps from my bedroom to the dining room where I sit. But yeah. I mean, you know,
You're a good sport. You're a good sport, Christian.
Son, today for PE, I need you to go cut the grass. that would be
Smartest thing
great.
parents ever did, wasn't
I
it?
might start homeschooling Lou
You know what I
Jr.
did?
now. Yep, for PE this week, I need
take
you to
the
cut the
dogs
grass.
I take the dogs
Hey.
out for PE.
That gives a
That's
whole new meaning to field trips, doesn't it, Lou?
Yeah, yeah.
Field trip's
time.
a trip to the grocery store.
Yeah. Do a field trip every Sunday, go grocery shopping with my dad after church and everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I personally appreciate your insight to some of this homeschooling business because I had one friend, like I said here, his daughter started in public schools and finished homeschooling. I guess my last question, as far as homeschooling, what kind of qualifications does the parent have to have? I mean, it doesn't always have to be a parent. I know some people actually bring in actual teachers. I'm sure it's opened up a whole new profession for a lot of teachers.
Well, the internet, I'm sure, has changed homeschooling a lot too, because, like you were
Yeah.
saying, you can probably sit in a virtual classroom,
Yeah.
with 20 other students, for whatever. So, I don't think homeschooling today necessarily means the same thing that it meant 20 years. I mean, I think 20 years ago, if you were homeschooled, your mother was your teacher. That was it. Period. You know what I mean? I think now it's a lot different.
Comments.
I think now it's a
Melissa
lot
May
different.
Ballard will never know the joy of getting to rub a girl's booty in public school.
Man. But I think homeschooling is great because, again, like I said, it kind of works out with my channel. I can work around it and everything. It's not going to be late at night or anything, or get a chance to do it in the afternoon. I know people are busy, but some people have no life and show up for live streams and stuff. But I can be flexible with the schoolwork and my sports casting and everything, and still be pretty successful at both.
Well, listen, Ballard, you came on the morning show with Uncle Lou and BVD.
Yes.
And you survived. I
did it.
You told the people everything they wanted to know about homeschooling, and it was great having you on.
You future co-hosts of the morning show with Lou and BBD, keep what just happened with Ballard in mind. This is exactly what we were looking for.
Yes.
Is someone to come on here and have some fun with us, not talk about sports so much, and but primarily not be a baby when they get picked on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you did amazing. I thought you did great. We got to know you a little bit, and when you hit the big time, please remember Lou and BVD.
Absolutely. I do appreciate you guys having me on today. And let me ask you this. You've had quite a few guests on. Am I the youngest one you've had yet? At 18?
Don't think so. Is he? Or is he?
I know Tyrant's is college age, so he may be a little bit older, but he's not much older. I've had the guys on from the Color Rush podcast. They're in college. I don't know that I think you might be the youngest.
That's pretty
Definitely our first homeschool
Yes.
Yeah.
co-host.
Yeah.
I think, as far as we know, anyway.
Yeah.
I especially liked the part where you were homeschooled but didn't know the answers to any questions we asked about homeschooling.
Exactly what we're
Especially
looking
liked that
for.
part. Yeah,
A little bit.
very
Not
informative.
so much my type of homeschool, but so
Anyway, Ballard, we're gonna let you go. We appreciate you coming on. It's getting to be almost 10 o'clock here, so we're gonna let you go. But we appreciate you coming on. We'd love to have you on again at some point in the future. We're trying to give everybody an opportunity to come on
Definitely,
who wants to, but we will definitely keep you in mind. And again, thank you for your time and consideration in this matter.
thanks, Lou. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, buddy. Take it easy.
You too. Bye.
BVD, what about that now?
It went well.
Yeah?
Impressed with the young man. He did not take back a single comment.
Is he the one that does that?
He's the one that always retracts his comments.
Well, Jesus Christ. Why didn't we ask him about that?
Hell, I thought you knew. I thought you knew.
Tell the people what you're talking about.
Okay, so Mr. Ballard there's in the comments a lot. My show, Lou's show, and if you'll pay attention, of course he probably won't do it now, but he retracts almost every comment he leaves, and he's kind of picked up a few different nicknames. You know, the old term Clemsoning. Well, now if somebody, there you go, RB just did it. That's called Ballarding, RB, what you just did. See, there you go. Thanks for the example, Ballard.
I don't know why I forgot that he's the one that does that all the time. I would love to have asked him about. Has he
We've
ever
asked him.
Has he ever tried to explain it?
I don't know. I know he's been asked, but I don't know. You know, he's
That is so
he's
strange.
a serial retractor.
Like he wants people to know what he's thinking, but only for a limited amount of time.
It's like Snapchat, isn't it? Isn't that the way
Yes.
Snapchat works?
Yeah, he treats to you. Yes, that's a great analogy. That's a
Ballard
great
chat.
analogy. God, I
I
should
don't
have asked
know.
him about
Next
that.
time he's on there, we'll ask him.
Yeah.
Or
Although,
he could answer in the comments.
I
and then
have a
retract it.
feeling. I have a feeling. I know what he would have said had we asked him about that.
Lay it down.
He would have said, "I don't know why I do that."
That's very possible.
There was a lot of things we asked him that he didn't know.
He says he sees people do it all the time everywhere else. Well, yeah, that's true. A lot of people do it, Christian, but not every comment.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
a good thing, young man. You have separated yourself from the rest of the class,
Yeah.
so to speak. Does that mean we're about done today,
Yeah,
Lou?
I guess it's time to wrap it up. I gave you a break on the bubonic plague because
I was ready.
I didn't
I was
realize
ready.
how well you made me feel like I was being inconsiderate towards you. So
I did?
yeah, you left a comment at the beginning of the stream that basically said, "Gee, thanks. I just buried my stepbrother, and now you're going to make me talk about the plague." Is basically what you said.
Oh,
So I was like, "Oh, wow, yeah. I guess maybe I shouldn't have done that." So
that was
to everyone
Perfect,
that's tuned
perfect.
in, to everyone that's
I'll
tuned in,
take it up Wednesday.
Okay. To everyone that tuned in this morning because they wanted to hear BVD explain the bubonic plague, which is pretty much everyone, I apologize.
Yeah, I
and we'll get
remember
to
that now. I
Wednesday.
called it the bionic plague.
Yeah. So we'll have to get to that. We'll have to get to that Wednesday. So
Oh, either that or pick a new topic.
yeah, because the whole point, and if you remember the segment that we do called BVD Explains, the whole point is that I don't tell you ahead of time what it is that you have to explain.
In fact, I wouldn't even put it in the title anymore, because that gives me, I had a good 10, 15 minutes to Google it and get some specifics.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. The only thing I knew for sure about the bubonic plague is it was also called the Black Death or whatever.
Yeah, and I actually looked up some stuff on it this morning when I was thinking about asking you about it, and I mean, I remember learning about it like in school, I guess, but it wiped out almost half of Europe's population. And guess where it started?
China.
Yes.
Yep.
Started in China, made its way to Europe through the Silk Road, which was the trading route back then. And it took 200 years for Europe to get back to the same population it was at before the plague struck. 200 years. So
200 being the common denominator in this, because I read 200 bodies a day were being piled into mass graves.
Yeah.
Because of this stuff. Man. So old Mr. Corona ain't got shit on Mr. Bubonic.
And it also it's I remember reading it said that the bubonic plague was a bacterial infection, whereas the coronavirus is a viral infection. So
somebody did his homework.
Which of course is an important distinction to go
What,
ahead and
pray tell, inspired you to come up with that, as a BVD explained?
I was scrolling through Facebook this morning, and somebody made a coronavirus post where they referenced the bubonic plague.
Oh, okay.
And actually, the first reason I looked it up is because I wanted, for some, like it popped in my head. What was the bubonic plague? Like, did they ever figure out what that was? And so I looked up what was the bubonic plague, and next thing I knew, I had spent 15 minutes reading a bunch of pointless information about the bubonic plague.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, it was crazy. They said, doctors just quit. Like they're like, that's, they just boarded up their office, and they're like, but because they didn't want to see anybody. They were so afraid. They didn't even want anybody to know they were doctors. They got rid of everything they owned that could prove that they were a doctor.
This happened in like the 1300s, didn't it?
Yeah. Priests were refusing to give last rites to people when they were dying or dead. Priests wouldn't show up at funeral services. Everyone was so afraid.
Wow.
But I mean, it wiped out half of Europe's population. I mean, that's we're sitting here. What is the coronavirus has a 3% at most death rate, something like that. You're talking 50% of the people that got this thing, or 50% of the world, 50% of the population dead. It's crazy.
Damn.
Anyway, let's wrap it up for today. What you got planned this week over on BVD TV?
A whole lot of the same old.
Okay,
which,
good.
It'll be nice and fun.
Yeah.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, same old deal. Tonight might be a little bit different. For those of you that do normally tune in on Monday nights, please feel free to do so tonight. But the stream most likely tonight will be starting from the gymnasium at Greenville High School.
Via cell phone, I hope.
Yes, we got a very big and important game tonight. They win that game tonight, and they get to go to state. So,
that's amazing.
Can't miss that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Gator Zone says, "Welcome back, BVD."
Thank you, Mr. Gator Zone.
He's scheduled to be on the show here pretty soon, if memory serves. Yes, he is.
I think I need to know that date, if you have it handy.
Well, we got Ruben on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Friday will be good. One of my favorite people. You must have set this up. APC Carter on Friday. That'll be good. Celine Driver on Monday next week. It's his birthday, so he'll be on.
Happy birthday!
And then the 18th, next Wednesday, Gator Zone is
okay, there it is. Okay, I had his real name written down.
And Monday the 23rd, we have Jeff W., sideline reporter for Iowa State, or photographer. He'll be on. So if you want to be a guest on the show, the March dates are filling up. There are not very many dates left for March, but there's a few. So send an email to the show, Lou
We got about 4 left, Lou.
Yeah, Lou and BVD, spelled out, Lou and BVD at gmail.com. Just send an email to the show. We'll let you know what days are available. When you come on, some people, if you can come on for 15 or 30 minutes, that's fine. If you want to do like Ballard and stay on for the whole show, that's fine. It's totally up to you when you come on, however much time you can spend with us. So shoot us an email. We'll get it scheduled. I'm going to do some more schedule previews this week for you guys, plus the regular schedule of live shows. So Tuesday and Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, Uncle Lou After Dark, the college football call-in show, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 a.m., me and BVD. And I'm going to try. Tired of this is the amount of people requesting this is unbelievable. I'm going to try to do another Uncle Lou Calls Campus Bookstore video for you guys. And I actually had to look into it this morning because I had some legal concerns about that. I cannot call Florida's bookstore. So I just
really
apologize for that ahead of time. I cannot call Florida, Florida State, Miami. I cannot call any of those bookstores. So those are off limits. Florida is a two-party state. So if you don't know what that means, most states in the United States, you can record a conversation as long as one person knows. That one person, of course, in this scenario would be me. I don't have to inform the other person that the call is being recorded. There are 11 states in the United States where you do have to inform the other party, and Florida is one of those states. I'm not saying I would get sued if I called the Florida bookstore and uploaded it, but I'm saying it's a possibility. And let's be real, none of y'all are willing to pay that legal bill, so I will not be able to call any of the schools in Florida. But Florida's the only southeastern state that's on that list, so everyone else is fair game. Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina, Clemson, whatever, Texas, all those states are one-party states. So
Florida is only...
I'd have to call the Florida bookstore and say, by the way, this phone call's being recorded, but you got any of that, we finished second in the division again shirts or whatever the case, you know what I mean? So that just wouldn't work. So
Florida's only southeastern by geography. Nothing else about that state is southern.
No, that it's like half Yankee, half Mexican. You know.
I wondered if you were going to say Mexican or Cuban.
Well, by Mexican,
I know exactly.
I've explained this before. It gets me in trouble every time I explain it. I don't do it to be racist. I just do it it just simplifies things for me. To me, there are. I guess I'll say it and then end the show real quick before I get bludgeoned in the comment section. But to me, there are 5 races for simplicity purposes. There's white people, there's black people, there's Mexican people, there's Chinese people, and there's Indian people. You're one of those 5 people. Have a great day. Waikiki, thank you for the super chat, sir. I missed a couple. I apologize. Waikiki, as says, is the afternoon show ever coming back? As of right now, there are no plans to bring the afternoon show back. As of right now, it's just going to be the morning show 3 days a week and the nighttime show 2 nights a week. So I'm not saying the afternoon show would never come back, but there are no plans right now for that. Creeping Death, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, Lou, you should get R.J. Young on. No.
'cause I come for you. My heart's sinking to my feet. I'm lying 'cause I can't touch you. Why can't you just hear me?